Hello, my students of class 11. Today I will continue the topic animal tissue, and today's topic is muscular tissue or muscle tissue. So what is muscle and where we can find that muscle tissue? I will discuss about that. So muscle tissue are called, you can call it muscle fiber or myocyte, because they are made up of elongated and fiber like. Okay, because they are, the muscle cells are elongated and fiber like, and each muscle is made up of long cylindrical fibers arranged in parallel rays. Okay, long cylindrical fibers when arranged in parallel rays, these are called as muscle. Okay, and this fiber is composed of numerous fine fibrils which is called as myofibrils. Muscle is made up of numerous fine fibrils which is called as myofibrils. I am repeating, what is myofibril? Muscle is made up of numerous fine fibrils which is called as myofibrils, and muscle cells can contract and relax. That means now the muscle cells are having the main property like contractility and excitability. These are the main true criteria of muscle cell, that they have the, what does that term mean, contractility? That means they have the ability to shorten forcefully and come back to its normal state. They can be shortened forcefully and they can come back to its normal pace. That means muscle cells can contract and shorten in response to stimulation, and again they lengthen and return to their uncontracted state. That property is called as contractility. Okay, and their action moves the body to adjust the changes in the environment and maintain the positions of the variant parts of the body. Okay, so in general, what is the role of the muscle? Muscle play an active role in movement and locomotion. So muscles play active role in the movement and locomotion. And again I have written that one term, that is excitability. So that means it can be stimulated as there exists a potential difference according to the across the membrane. When we will see their membrane potentiality, so there we can find that there is having a potential changes in difference across the membrane, and it can be excited or stimulated. So these are the main two property of muscle cells or muscle tissue, and these are the main two functions of muscles. And you know what, that in that muscle, the endoplasmic reticulum of the muscle is called the sarcoplasmic reticulum. The cytoplasm of muscle is called as sarcoplasm. The plasma membrane of muscle is called as sarcolemma. So what are the different terms? Sarcolemma, sarcoplasm, sarcoplasmic reticulum. So sarcoplasm means the cytoplasm of muscle, and the sarcolemma means the plasma membrane of muscle. Sarcoplasmic reticulum means the endoplasmic reticulum of muscles, and the sarcosomes, the mitochondria of muscles, are called as sarcosomes. Okay, and in that muscle they are having some filament which is made up of some protein which is actin, myosin. So these part I will explain in that movement and locomotion chapter. Okay, so in this chapter we will talk about the different types of muscles. So muscle tissue can be classified into three types. What are they? Striated muscles, smooth muscles, and cardiac muscles. Now I will talk about the different characteristics of these three muscles. The alternative name of striated muscle is skeletal muscle, And the next muscle is smooth muscle. And the third one is cardiac muscle. Okay, so first I will talk about the skeletal muscle. So as you can see that they are attached with the bones, that means those muscles which are attached to the skeletal system or bones are called as skeletal muscle. And where these muscles can be found, these muscles can be found in our biceps, triceps. Okay, sorry, these type of muscles can be found. And if I draw the diagram of these muscles, so you will be able to find that some striations are over there. Okay, some striations can be found in that muscle like that, and nucleus will be there. That's why due to the presence of that striation, this is called as striated muscles. This is called as, that means striations present, and that's why it is called as striated muscles. Okay, and okay, so these are also called as bands, and you can say that in between the striations you can find a dark band and a light band. Okay, a dark band and a light band can be found, and as the presence of striations, it is called as striated muscles. Now, if I ask that if I ask you that they are voluntary or involuntary, that means they can move by their own or not. So in that case, we can move their skeletal muscles very easily. That's why we can call it that skeletal muscles are voluntary in nature. Skeletal muscles are voluntary in nature. And how it looks? It looks long cylindrical structure, and no branching is there. No branching is there, you can see. So that's why we will call it that it is unbranched. So long, cylindrical and unbranched. Skeletal muscle is long, cylindrical and unbranched. Now, if I consider the presence of nucleus, you have seen that many nucleus I have drawn. That's why you can call it that striated muscles are multinucleated. Striated muscles are multinucleated. Now, where they can be found? They can be found, or they are associated with skeletal system. Skeleton, and also that means they can be found in the limbs. Okay, they can be found in our tongue. That's why we can move our tongue voluntarily and etc. So these are the location. So these hairs are long, cylindrical, unbranched. Now next this the striations, they are having prominent striations. Okay, and they occur in bundles, and they are multinucleated, and nucleus is located at the periphery. You can see that nucleus is not situated at the middle, so you can call it the nucleus is situated towards the periphery. Okay, and also they are have a number of mitochondria and glycogen granules. They are having number of mitochondria and glycogen granules. So these are the properties of skeletal muscle. Next we will talk about the smooth muscles. So it looks like that. The cells are elongated, spindle shaped with, and look at their ends. Their ends are tapering. So in that case they are not having any tapering ends, but in case of smooth muscles they are having tapering ends, and you cannot find any kind of striations. So where do we write? No striations. No striations are present in case of smooth muscle. That's why its alternative name is unstriated muscle. Its alternative name was striated muscles, and its alternative name is unstriated muscles. Okay, and these muscles cannot be moved at our will. These muscles cannot be moved our will. That's why it is called as involuntary. it is called as involuntary muscles. Okay, and next one is they are shaped, so that is spindle shaped. Spindle shaped with tapering ends. Now next part is about their nucleus. You can see that only one nucleus is present. That's why you can call it that it is uninucleated. So it is uninucleated. Next, if I consider the position where smooth muscles can be found, these muscles are attached with the lining of the visceral organs. So these can be found in the wall of visceral organs. These muscles can be found. So I am repeating the point. The cells are long, spindle shaped with tapering ends. Striations are absent. They are uninucleate with large oval nucleus at the center. You can see that large oval nucleus is present at the center, and large nucleus present at the center, and they have fewer mitochondria and less glycogen, which is quite more in case of skeletal muscle. And these muscles can be found at the wall of visceral organs like alimentary canal, urinary bladder, etc. In the visceral organs, we cannot move at our will. That's why it is called as involuntary or smooth muscles. Last one is cardiac muscles. This one is cardiac muscles. You can see that in that cardiac muscles are found where, as their name suggests, that cardiac muscles can be found at the walls of the heart. So cardiac position of the cardiac muscle is walls of the heart, and their muscle fibers are very short, cylindrical, and this is quite the same like striated muscles, but one difference is that they are branched. Branching is there. So they are short, cylindrical, branched and jointed at two ends. Okay, to form two rows. And you can see the striations are present. Okay, striations are present. So first point we can write that striations So first point is striations are present. And next, if I see that they can be controlled by our will or not. So we cannot control, these muscles are not controlled with our will. That's why we can call it that they are involuntary in function. They are involuntary in function. And what is the shape? That is cylindrical. In that case, they are long, but they are short. Short, cylindrical and branched. Short, cylindrical and branched. And next one is nucleus. You can see that in that only one nucleus present, in that only one nucleus present. So you can call it that they are also uninucleated. Okay, and where it is present? Walls of heart. Okay, so this is all about cardiac muscle. I am repeating that the cells are short, cylindrical, branched with truncate ends. Striations are present, but they are having, the striations are quite faint than the striated muscles. Okay, and they form a continuous network. They are uninucleate with nucleus towards the center. In that case, nucleus was at the periphery, but in that case, you can see nucleus is present towards the center. And they have a large number of mitochondria and large quantity of glycogen. They are also having large number of mitochondria and large number of glycogen. And these muscles can be found in the walls of the heart. Okay. And they are having some communication junctions like that, and these communicated junctions are called as intercalated disc. Intercalated disc. Okay. So cardiac tissue is present in the walls of the heart, and they are having communication junctions at some fusion points. Okay, at some fusion points they are having some communication junctions, which is called as intercalated disc, and these fusion points allows the cells to contract as a unit. Okay, these fusions or intercalated discs allow the cells of cardiac muscles to contract as a unit. They will contract as a unit, and that is when one receives a signal to contract, the nerves also stimulated to contract. That means when one will receive the signals to contract, the other also that means the neighboring cells are also stimulated to contract, because as you know that the cardiac muscles means that is in our heart. So heart pumps continuously, and you know that they can produce their own impulse, and this impulse should be generated through the walls of the hearts and the total heart. Okay, so that how they can be propagated, because these type of structures are present in the cardiac muscles, which are helping them in that process. Okay, so these are the main differences or main criteria between these three muscles, and in my next class I will talk about the another two tissues, that is neural tissue and connective tissue. So for today that's it, and thank you.